Hey guys, Ryan here with AllMine Ranch. Well, it's Sunday morning and I got a new toy, not really a toy, more like a tool. Okay, so here it is. This is a Honda Rancher 2003. It's a little 350cc single cylinder ranch ATV. It's not really for trail riding. Of course you can do that, but it's really meant for exactly my kind of application where you have a farm or a ranch, you need to get shit done. By the way, I went up to Tucson yesterday and got this. I don't mind sharing, I paid $23.50, which is a decent deal. They tend to go for $24 to $27 depending on conditions. This one has pretty low miles. I just heard Stanley barking at me. He doesn't like it when I talk and he's not near. It's got pretty low miles, got new tires on the front. It's missing its little mud fenders, so I've ordered some of those. Sorry, I might have just said that wrong. It's got new rear tires, but it needs front tires. It's got 2 racks on it, and basically I can hitch up my little cart. And as you can see, I got a heavy load of dirt and rock in here, it's hooked up to there so I can pull it. As you can probably see as I pan around, I've got berms of rock and dirt here that are temporary. Over by my workshop, I'll turn around here in a moment. Now I'm sort of on the east side of my workshop wall. I've got all this rock in here that came out from underneath the foundation and rock everywhere. There's just a ton of earthworks to be done here, and hauling a very heavy cart full of rock and dumping it manually, then hauling it back is a real pain in the butt. So the ATV is going to help with that. So I figure investing $2,300 plus, about $500 roughly for 2 front tires and some mud flaps. Most of the, I don't even need that technically right now, but I'm a typical boy. When I get a new toy, I like to make it shiny and purty, and as they say in the motorcycle world, I'd like to farkleize it, meaning put farkles on it, doodads, trinkets. So I think I'm going to put mesh wire racks, because I can move around soil, bags of soil like these 3 right here that have just been laying there for a while, that are sort of heavy, bags of cement, etc. There are racks, but maybe by having like mesh baskets, things won't fall out. And I also have a whole lot of trail work. Let me turn around. I got a whole lot of trail work to do out there. In the ATV, I'm gonna have to widen the trail in spots and in some of the tight turns. I want to make it at least wide enough to bring the ATV. And the main use of the ATV, aside from work here on the farm, is to pull a fire trailer, basically water with a pump, a fire hose. And so if when there's outbreaks of fire, I can just hop on the ATV, hook it up, whip over there and put out the fire. And that is pretty important living in this part of the world. So got some other things I want to share with you here, but let me go let Stanley out of the truck. He's been relaxing in there and he's barking at me, so hang on a sec. All right, I'm in my little garage port, and this is where the ATV goes. I cleared a spot for it. I moved the motorcycle over. It goes right here next to the motorcycle. That's going to work out pretty well. I need to do an oil change on it. But the other major project, aside from moving around rock and dirt and whatnot, is I've got all this wood right here painted tan, and that is going to become, whoa, it's bright, one of those, a solar rack, a rack to hold 3 solar panels, a little lower to the ground, but otherwise the same design. So that assembly is going to start today. But I've got the tall vertical uprights, and then on the ground are the short vertical uprights. Those are going to get assembled, sandwiched between a bunch of these 2x8s that I've painted, and that's going to become a solar rack. But man, it's really humid today and not that much wind. If the breeze doesn't pick up, I'm sweating like repeatedly a lot, and it's early still and the temperature's nice. It's just purely humidity that makes me, sweat. So I'm hoping the breeze comes up to help cool me off. But that's on my list today, in addition to moving some gravel and just messing around with the ATV, playing with my new toy. So I think that was a good investment of $2,300. It's going to come in handy, particularly when, it's not a matter if, it's a matter of when we get some wildfires, some brush fires, and I need to put it out on my own because I can't count on the fire department. One of the reasons I like living here solo off-grid is the self-reliance factor. I'm a believer in self-reliance, And while I like knowing a fire department is near and can help with a big fire, a small fire I want to be able to take care of. I'm one of those prepper types that actually goes to the trouble of buying fire extinguishers. I've got one here on the wall. Don't know if you can see that behind me, right there, a small one above that cabinet. And then here on the ground, sorry for all the spinning, right there I've got a larger one, and around the property I've got several others. So I do have ways to put out very small fires, but if an entire bush or several bushes catch on fire, I would really like to have, 150, 200 gallons pressurized so I can really, go crazy. Or if there's a fire but it's distant and I'm, concerned about it, I can wet down, all the brush around my property line or closest to structures to help prevent, fire from spreading. So that's pretty cool. And plus, I just like toys, ATVs are good. So for all those reasons, I bought the ATV, and I'm looking forward to getting my money's worth out of it. I'm even investigating, there are some serious heavy duty accessories that you can, put on it to make it actually like a mini bulldozer or a mini plow with like a lift bucket, so that I could literally scoop gravel instead of using a shovel. But those are a couple thousand, 3,000, 4,000 more, and I don't know if I really want to invest quite that much. I'm going to give that some thought. But, I looked at tractors, small tractors, and I even saw one yesterday on my drive back from Tucson, early 2000s tractor that's moderate size, and it was still $12,000. A real tractor, like a nice one, newer, is easily 20 to 25,000 or more. But for the size I need, I'd need to spend about 20 grand. So get a used old one, that's 12,000. I don't have that laying around. I keep my money invested or in Bitcoin. And but for maybe 2,000 or 3,000, 4,000 to turn an ATV into a plow or a lift bucket, that might be worth doing. Anyway, I'm going to do some other work. I'm going to film some of it and cobble together a video. So thanks for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe to my other channel, You Sure Talk a Lot. The link for that is down below. Well, I couldn't back it up. Even though I'm good at reversing my trailer now, the way the front wheels move completely independent, anytime you deviate in reverse with this gorilla cart behind the ATV, it just kind of jackknifes. So I tried about 4 times. I couldn't back it up nice and straight. So that's a little challenging, but it's simply a matter of just pulling one pin here, pulling this thing. Can you see that? Don't know. There's a cotter pin, and you just got this, and then boom. Oh, can you see that? It's disconnected. So I have this situation with rabbits trying to get under the house. So I'm going to dump this load of dirt right there, just to help block the rabbits. It only lasts they can dig through it pretty fast. But the more I build up there, since I have to move a lot of rock and dirt over the next couple weeks, I'm just going to dump a lot of it against the foundation of the house here just to keep the rodents at bay, because they are constantly trying to get under my house. Darn varmints. But anyway, I parked over here right in front of my workshop. And the nice thing about a ATV, UTV type deal, instead of a small tractor, is it fits in small spaces. It's only about 6 or 7 feet wide in here, and a tractor would be a tight fit. But I want to move some of this rock right here into the cart, so just parking it right here in this gap is a great thing. I'm thinking the rest of this video is going to be about some of the earthworks. Let me just walk around and show you some of the earth moving projects that I had planned. The things that this cart will come in handy for, right off the bat, the things that I've been delaying. Partly delaying because of heat and, hot weather, but now it's an overcast day. It's only mid-80s, even though humid I already complained about. But it's time to start doing more earthworks projects. And not only will this pull a gorilla cart, it will pull a drag. So as you can see, I don't know if you can kind of see the layout. I'm walking towards the road, but this is essentially a gravel driveway that goes all the way around my house and comes out over here. So big U-shaped circular driveway. The end to end is probably, a 1/20th of a mile. That seems kind of long, but maybe 100 yards, 100 yards, 100 yards. So 300-yard long driveway. And so it needs tending and care and some more gravel. And as you can see, the grass starts to grow in and plants start to grow in anytime I am not actively driving on it, which isn't that much because I actually park over on the other side on a third driveway when I pull into my garage port for parking. So the only people who are tending to use this driveway lately, I'll come around here so you can see more of it, as it goes around the back of my house and goes over here. It's the UPS guy and the FedEx guy. Sorry about all the shaking. I need to get a gimbal again. All of this has to be groomed and where it curves around the house. So I'm gonna get a drag. I can make one out of a pallet and some wire. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt. You have to weight it down to. I may actually invest in a steel heavy drag with some deep teeth so that I can basically groom the land and pull it behind the ATV. So hauling and dragging are the two main things that I have in mind. Plus, of course, pulling my fire trailer once I get that going. So just thought I would mention that too. Now let's let me walk around and show you a couple of the earth moving projects that are on my, both short, medium, and long-term to-do lists. All right, so one of the projects that I want to do, it's on my short list, aside from putting more rock and boulders along the house to keep the rabbits out, is this thing is a drainage trench that wraps around the back of my house. Sorry, let's walk backwards and hope I don't trip over anything. See, it goes right here and it gets deeper and deeper to its deepest spot under my little bridge here. And then it goes in here because water was washing down towards the back of the house. So I put in this berm of cinder block and dirt, and then for anything that falls in this general area in here, it tends to go towards the house. So I've got a trench started that goes right here. And it's kind of dangerous the way I have this little, piece of wood on top of it to walk across it, because in this spot it's about a foot across the trench and almost a foot deep. And then it, drains out that way down towards open land. So the first thing I want to do is get a bunch of my large gravel that I have left over from doing my last gravel project and fill in this trench. And because it's big gravel, it'll basically still be a French drain without a pipe inside. Rainwater should fill it in and still generally move itself downhill. And that way I can get rid of this, janky plywood setup. All right, another big project is this is the space between my new workshop and my garage port. It's basically a breezeway or a kind of a passageway. And as you can see, I've got this reddish gravel in here. And as I come around the corner here, it just sort of stops. And then we're bare dirt and rock and all the way down this side. So I have leftover gravel, a whole bunch of it, I'll show you. It's over by my solar panels. It's walk and talk. And so I want to move a lot of that red gravel and basically make myself a gravel walkway all the way down this side and all the way here. And you can see the reddish gravel, Sedona red gravel, starts again right here. And all of the main areas where I walk and work primarily has this red gravel on it. But out here by my solar panel racks, I've still got half of what I bought. That's still a few tons right there. So I've been doing it by hand with just shovel and the gorilla cart, but now it's going to be shovel, the gorilla cart, and an ATV, and that'll make things a lot easier. So just distributing that red gravel is a big project. And then this is the gravel that I'm going to use. This is a massive French drain. I didn't really shoot a video about it, but this is also, this whole thing right here is the biggest French drain I've ever seen or done. Whoop. Biggest French drain I've ever seen or done. And I've got a ton of gravel left over. In fact, let me spin around again and you'll see how much. It was just, see, there we go. It was just sort of blocking my driveway, and I just scraped a little bit more away so it's a little easier to get in here to my driveway to my garage port. So just distributing that gravel is another big project. And in here, inside my garage port, I've got a fair amount of gravel to help level it out, but there's a little more leveling I can do, and I'd like to pack it down better, because when I come in on the ATV and my motorcycle, right now the gravel is a bit soft back there underfoot, so it needs some compaction, which I can use the ATV to help compact it down a little bit, but then I want to bring in some smaller gravel to be on top of this larger gravel to fill in the gaps and help just make it more of a compacted surface. So that's another big project. See, I got a lot. There's 3 or 4 right there. And that's just like right off top of my head, things that are underfoot and in my way, basically. All right, it's a couple hours later. I paused to eat some breakfast, a brunch, just cheese, nuts, and a slice of thick cut bacon. Took a little rest, but now I'm back at it. And I've added about 4 of these gorilla cart full of gravel to this area, which is between my back door and my tiny house. So now, if I go off camera and turn this way, normally I go over a tiny berm here and then over a little wooden bridge, but that was kind of sketchy. So now I can walk straight in, walk straight out. I got to add some more. But what I'm doing, and so far it's not going well, but I'm flooding this right now to see how well the water percolates through the gravel. It doesn't look like it's doing a great job, but I want to see how much it builds up there before it actually percolates through and then spinning around, sorry about the movement, draining out and down along the house there. All right, that's filling up with water, but it only took about 5 minutes, not even that, to percolate through. And now you can see right here, I'm starting to get flow. All right, well, I decided to start working on the solar racks after 3 or 4 hours of landscaping work. I pulled out a lot of bushes. I just sort of ran the ATV around, just had some fun going over weeds and trying to knock back the plants, etc. But I decided to go ahead and start assembling the solar racks. I'm starting to assemble the uprights and put together some of the sections of my solar rack. I'm going to do one more for the tall side. This is the short side. I'm going to do the tall side. And then the rest of the assembly has to be done outside because it'll get too heavy for me to move it. So I got to take it out towards where the other solar racks are and basically assemble it from there. Anyway, so I'm going to keep going even though I'm kind of hot, kind of sweating. There's not much breeze. I need to get a fan going, get some music going, make this a little more fun. But it's good, you know, to make progress on multiple fronts today. So I did a bunch of ATV stuff, about 10 loads of gravel, moved a bunch of brush, took out a bunch of bushes, and now I'm working on the solar racks. And yeah, pretty soon I'll call it a day, go relax and have my first meal of the day. I haven't really eaten other than very light snacking, so some food would probably be good at some point. All right, I'm calling it a day. Let me show you what I got done. Just put the ATV away. That thing's gonna come in so handy. But I've got to be judicious with my budget because accessories for it are expensive. All right, so I carried all the wood to assemble this out here. So there's the 2 rails. This is the grooves that the edges of the solar panel go in. And then essentially, short side, that's standing up, obviously, short side, long side. And then some cross supports out there. And I've got some more wood in the workshop that needs to be painted tan, so that's probably something to do after work tomorrow. I may not get to the assembly until next weekend of this, but that's okay. Take my time, do it at the pace that feels good. I like to work on the things that I like to work on, meaning I try not to force myself to work on projects that just don't seem all that appealing. Sorry about the darkness. Brighten up, there we go. So I try to do what, you know, feels like a fun activity, and if nothing feels fun, I try not to work. So I took a few weeks off because of the heat of the summer, but now I'm getting back in my groove. So everything, I got my the motorcycle and the ATV are now parked in here side by side. That works out pretty well, I think. Still plenty of room for my truck, which goes right in here, which I'm about to pull it in now. And then let's just go in the workshop real fast. All right, I got some 2x6s here that need to be painted and a couple of pressure treated ones that also need to be painted. So that's one project that I'll work on, you know, during the week after my workday ends. And I didn't do any electrical here in the workshop. I didn't do, yeah, that's a big or of the bird blocking that still needs to happen up there. See all that light coming in? It's because I need bird blocking. So I didn't do any of that. But I did do some decluttering in the house. I'm giving away a box of stuff. I did dishes. I did a whole lot of landscaping and moving of gravel, moving of rock, pulled a lot of bushes. I used the pickaxe matic and removed a lot of bushes that were starting to encroach on my main driveway, and just tried to generally tend to the land since we've, you know, got monsoon season and the brush is growing pretty strong, the weeds are growing. If you don't stay on top of it, you'll get overgrown pretty fast. So I spent, you know, a few hours just dealing with that kind of stuff, and I'm feeling it. Swinging that matic is no joke. My back is definitely sore already. So anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one, whatever, whenever, or whatever that may be. Don't forget to subscribe to You Sure Talk a Lot, and hit like and leave a comment, and thank you. Bye.